All right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Justin Clark here. We are doing the third installment now of the Crypto Edge podcast, where we give you the edge in crypto. So you know what's going on in the news, what are the hot new coins that are being listed on the different exchanges for trading. And we also talk to experienced traders who have been trading these markets for a long time and get some insights from them on their journey, how they got to the point where they are today, so that it can really help and benefit you. As you come on, let us know who you are and where you are tuning in from. And Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, actually, it's afternoon for you. It's morning for me. Just made it into the afternoon actually here. And then Clifford, it is definitely morning for you as well. So it's early by you.
Still morning, yes.
Yep. Well, cool. Well, our first segment we've got coming up here is going to be news, and Paul is the man with the plan. So let's dig right into the crypto news and see what's going on right now in the crypto world, because there's been a lot going on over the past couple months. So crypto news is up first. Paul, over to you.
Right. So, yes, a lot has happened over the last couple of months in the crypto space, but I'm not going to be covering all the news over the last couple of months because we're only here for just about an hour. And I really just want to talk about the things that have come to the fore over the last 2 weeks or so since our last podcast. And kicking it off, Solana, right? So why I wanted to bring this up is because there's been a lot of talk of incoming ETFs for altcoins. Now, we do know that there has been an Ethereum altcoin, an Ethereum ETF, and Ethereum is still bundled as an altcoin. It's an alternative coin to Bitcoin, and it was the first of the altcoins, but there's been talk of so many others, and now Solana is the first to actually have an ETF, although it is a futures ETF. And if you don't know what that is, it is unlike spot. It is basically gambling on the future price of what Solana would be, but it's still a good thing. Now, a lot of people might go, but it's futures. That's okay, because normally a futures market like this would then lead to a spot ETF. So it's incredibly bullish for those people who not only like Solana but potentially other altcoins, because once this goes through, I mean, this particular ETF is already live and trading, but it does pave the way for other spot ETFs for other altcoins coming down the line. So, yes, incredibly bullish news in that regard. I know the two gentlemen with me here today are not holders per se, but they're traders. So they
we try not to be holders. If we're holders, something went wrong. We messed up.
Right. But it does mean that there are potentially coins for them to add to the watch list to keep an eye on, because the sooner or the closer that we get to a spot ETF for something like Solana, there's going to be a lot of volatility. And for traders, they love volatility. I mean, it just means that the price is going to be moving around quite a bit and offering opportunities for people to get in and out of their trades. Are you going to be adding Solana to your watch list, Justin?
Yeah, if it shows up on the software, I'll trade it. A lot of times it's not one that moves like I like them to move. I like kind of crazy movement. And that's where I find my sweet spot for like profit and stuff like that, with minimal capital and maximum returns. Yeah, I traded Solana numerous times over the years. Yep, I've traded it from hundreds of dollars down to dollars, back to hundreds of dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've traded that thing all the way up and down. I've always liked Solana as a network because I still am doing this, Paul, the Steppin app, the running app.
Still stepping.
So yeah, so I don't even know how many miles. It's probably in kilometers here. But Yep, still got my Steppin app here. Still on the Solana chain, and it says that I've done 5,230 kilometers now running, which I don't even know how many miles that actually is. I gotta look that up.
Just divide by 1.6. But like I must say that I love the idea, but then they did something where their security was concerned, and a bunch of people got hacked and lost their Steppen shoes, and I was one of them. And it really bummed me out because I lost all my shoes. I had gems in some of them, and they didn't want to take any responsibility. It wasn't anything that the users did. It was something that they did on that side, on their side, which then landed up, people ended up getting hacked, losing their shoes, and their shoes just getting sold. It wasn't like it was more of an exploit than a hack. But it just bummed me out, and I didn't have anything left, but I just uninstalled the app, and I've never looked back. Like, I like Solana. I really, I think Solana.
I do. It's fast. It's a fast chain,
and it's cheap because a transaction, your average transaction on the Solana network is like 0.0002 Solana.
I keep like 0.0005 Solana in my Steppen wallet to transfer anything in and out, and it does it like so cheap.
And it's fast.
And it's extremely fast. Like instantly it comes across. I just realized like the amount, it's actually, I've run almost over 3,200 miles now with the Steppen app, which is pretty awesome because for me, I don't even care about the fact that I'm probably down a couple $1,000 buying these dumb shoes, because health-wise, it was completely worth it. Like it got me on like a kick that just lasted forever. And there's something about gamifying exercise I think is pretty awesome. So anyway, the Steppen app's been good. But yeah, I just realized like I've literally now like run like coast to coast in the US practically, and I'm starting on my way back now. So we'll see. I wonder how long it'll take me to get back there. But Solana,
you need to start bragging about them.
Say that again.
You need to brag about that. That's crazy.
It's so weird. I don't run. I mean, I run a couple miles, like 2-3 miles, maybe 5 days a week. And I've just been doing that forever. For a while, I was really a nut and was doing like 7 days a week, but I've cut it back now. But anyway, but it's fun. Yeah, I like it. But I'll tell you another thing, talking about chains that are cheap, LTC has always been a chain that's been so much less expensive than almost any other chain. If I've ever had to send crypto, I've always used LTC, because I've also felt the most comfortable with that chain. And the costs are always super low. So it's funny. But like Bitcoin, I don't know that I've ever sent anything with Bitcoin just because the fees sometimes can be so much higher.
Let me step in here and educate the masses. Right. So a lot of people think that like, and this is where I believe I add value, because a lot of people just see Bitcoin as expensive. And yes, the Bitcoin main chain is it can be expensive, especially during volatile times. And people are basically paying higher fees to make sure that their transaction is in one of the next upcoming blocks. But the group of guys got together and they went, right, so this Bitcoin thing, it's incredible, but it's slow and it takes 10 minutes for a transaction to be settled on the other side. Is there a way that we can speed things up? And best case scenario, Bitcoin, the main Bitcoin chain it's not made for mass use. Okay, it's got something like seven transactions per second output. So a bunch of guys got together and they developed something called a side chain for a few different networks. Litecoin has the Lightning side chain. Bitcoin has it, and it can be rolled out to other chains as well. But what the Lightning network is, it's another chain that runs in parallel with the Bitcoin network, and Bitcoin is moved off the main network to the side chain into what's called a channel, and then payments are moved between channels and then back onto the main chain at some point. And while it is on the side chain, these transactions can scale to 1 million transactions a second, which are settled in under 1 second. So basically, you're talking about the ability to move millions and millions of dollars anywhere on the planet within 1 second, okay, and tons of transactions all at the same time. So Bitcoin is no longer slow. Some people say, oh, but that's Lightning, that's the sidechain, it isn't Bitcoin. Well, it's half a dozen of one, 12 of 6 of another. It's still the same thing, because the side chains Bitcoin can be moved back onto the main chain, and it's still Bitcoin. So there's that. I personally will never sit and hold Litecoin, and it's not because of
it never parties. Litecoin never parties, but it's like the most boring coin. And it was fun. I remember way back in, I think it was maybe 2018, before the whole crypto markets fell apart, maybe late 2017. It had like one party, and everybody was like, "Wow, Litecoin's actually going crazy." And then it's just never again. It just stays very steady. But I think that's because of its use. It's used, and it just kind of balances itself out, forever.
Yeah, I mean, I could carry on talking about some of the reasons why I would never hold it. I don't believe that it is as supported as it should be. The guy that started, his name's Charlie Lee.
He sold everything.
He sold it like 200, but he sold his entire stack. And his reasoning behind that was because he didn't want to be swayed by the price in order to work on the project. But you sold the top. Make of that what you will. And the Litecoin Foundation is broke. So not as much development happening. Like it's not a technology that's advancing. It's there, and it's not going to change anytime soon. Like
that's the weird and beautiful thing about crypto. Unlike stocks, where if a company goes bankrupt, the stock is gone. You know what I'm saying? It's wiped out. You lose all your money. You're done. In crypto, people will keep trading things that the devs have all disappeared. Everything's disappeared. They will go through their pumps and their dumps. I mean, it's just the weirdest thing. Nothing ever disappears in crypto. Yes, it can go to zero. Okay. It can go very harshly down and not recover, but it's definitely, it's a totally different market than any other market I think that's out there because of that ultra permanence of crypto. It's just always there. People are still trading Namecoin, right? That was one of the original altcoins, of course, not a lot, but they are. You could still get it. I don't even know if that project exists or it's active or anything. You probably know, Paul.
Namecoin died. It's still being tracked on CoinMarketCap, and it's trading at like under $1, down from. It was.
That's so crazy.
Back in 2013 when it was $8. I mean,
it's 96 cents now. That's the wild thing. And it's
cycles or 4 Bitcoin cycles later, and you're down under $1. It's gone nowhere. But it was actually forked originally from Bitcoin, so it runs on the same technology as Bitcoin. It just never did anything. But the whole use of Namecoin at the time was to be used in DNS, domain name servers. But better technologies come out, even built on top of Ethereum. So Namecoin sadly doesn't have a future. There's a lot of coins like that. I don't see it ever making a comeback. No.
Yep, but people are still trading it. That's my point. You know what I'm saying? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
let's move forward. Remember the Luna coin that crashed?
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
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 I actually have some of that still. I'm holding forever on that one, but we'll see.
Oh, that's good. That's going to be a tough one. So, what was his name? Do Kwon, the guy behind Luna.
He got arrested.
Yes, he was arrested and he was fighting extradition, but I think he's now been extradited to stand trial in the US. And if found guilty, doesn't bode well for holders of Luna. But you never know. He might get off scot-free and then rebuild it from the ground up like he did want to. Said he was, you said he was going to fix it. So, let's see. stranger things have happened. People thought that the
I mean,
SEC were going to
I've only
bury
got
Ripple.
I've only got maybe $80 worth or something, so makes no sense to sell
Not
it.
$8,000. You never know.
Yeah,
Yeah. But anyway, listen, we've got other news items to speak about, so let's move on. We have had a whole bunch of different countries hinting at the idea of their own Bitcoin reserves after the US came out and said that they were going to be stockpiling Bitcoin. And funny enough, one of the countries that went, no, not for us, was South Korea. They rejected the idea of a Bitcoin reserve, which is kind of strange because South Korea has been one of those countries that's really been on the forefront of a lot of crypto projects. A lot of good crypto projects have come out of South Korea. So why the Bank of Korea basically shot down that proposal? And it's very difficult to understand why, but it won't stop other countries. We know that there are other countries that are really starting to accumulate Bitcoin. And so this one was very, very confusing. And then polarizing, you have a country like Pakistan, who initially were very anti-crypto, who have now gone forward and said, hey, listen, we're not going to be using all of our spare energy that is produced across their own grid. So any spare energy is now going to go into Bitcoin mining, which is super bullish, especially for a country like Pakistan, because if they can build their own reserve using spare energy that would otherwise be wasted, because electricity is something that can only be used like now unless you're going to be storing it in massive batteries. But for the most part, electricity that is being generated right now, and if it does not get used right now, it's wasted. So instead of wasting that energy, they're going to be putting it into Bitcoin mining, and that will actually be a way for them to bolster their own Bitcoin reserve, which I think is incredible. So we got two polarizing countries, one who used to be very anti Bitcoin and crypto, are now going, hey, listen, we're going to be using our spare energy for Bitcoin mining. And then another one who's been at the forefront of a lot of different amazing crypto projects going, yes, we like crypto, but we're not going to be putting together a crypto reserve. Make of that what you will, but there are other countries that are still going crazy, gung-ho. We're probably going to be hearing more and more news, I would say, over the next 6 months of different countries that are now putting together their own reserves. Right. So from that, I actually want to move on and talk about Tether. So everybody knows Tether has got billions in USDT, okay, which is supposed to be, they're supposed to have a one-to-one reserve for the Tether that's out there. Now, Tether's a bit of a funny one because while it's a stable coin, it doesn't really follow the ethos of crypto. If you think about crypto a few years ago, the whole idea of crypto, why crypto, which gave people the ability to hold sovereign reign over their money, it basically meant, hey, listen, I'm taking away control of my money from other third parties like banks and so on, and I want to now be in control of my money. Which people who first started understanding Bitcoin, who got the concept, went, yes, this is pretty cool. Now I was affected by a third party controlling my money, which is how I got into Bitcoin and crypto in the first place. A lot of people have heard that story before. I had a lot of money in PayPal. They froze my money for 6 months, okay, because they didn't understand my business model. And I turned to Bitcoin as a way to be able to get out of that. Right. So the entire idea behind crypto was that as long as I'm controlling my keys, I'm controlling my money. Now, Tether froze $27 million of money that was on a Russian exchange because they were trying to stop the flow of potentially money laundering or something of the sort. Now, when that happens, it makes people go, hey, listen, what are we fighting here for? Are we fighting for privacy or are we fighting for compliance? And it's a really difficult one. And people need to understand that this is going to be the case moving forward if countries start implementing the idea of CBDCs, your central bank digital currencies. Now, a lot of people are against them. A lot of people are for them. And there's a lot of people on the fence. And why I want to bring this up, because I believe it's super, super important for people to know that if Tether can stop or hold or freeze someone's money, CBDCs are going to be able to do exactly the same thing, which you need to give it a bit of thought. Like, do you want that? I mean, like, I don't agree with money laundering. I don't agree with terrorism. I don't agree with a lot of illegal things that happen. Okay, but I do believe that people should have free reign over their money. Company like Tether freezing people's money is not really a good sign, and CBDCs are going to be doing the same thing. So it's some food for thought. Give it a think and decide which side of the fence you're on.
It's interesting, Paul. I mean, there are, positives and negatives here. Obviously, if the government is acting in a way that is, incorrect or punishing people by controlling their money supplies when they shouldn't be doing that because they're upstanding citizens, you know what I'm saying? Then that is bad. On the flip side, like, I know a lot of people are like, digital currencies. Honestly, we've had digital currencies. I mean, how many dollars does anybody have in their house anymore? You know what I'm saying? Gold. I mean, it's all numbers in your bank account, right? So we kind of have digital currency now, and there's a lot of upside to that because I think the fact that theft is like a big one, right? If you've got a ton of cash sitting in your house, somebody can walk in and steal it. Your house can burn down and it's gone. And with having your money in a bank account, I know we're on a crypto podcast, but you know what I'm saying? It's, you have your money there. I go and charge something to a card. The person is fraudulent. I can address that with my bank. And they're very good about handling it. You know what I'm saying? Or if there's fraudulent charges on my card. But when it's cash, as soon as it's taken, it's gone, right? In third world countries too, I mean, getting them on chain or, into crypto, et cetera, I'm sure prevents theft and crime, right? Because you're not going to hold a person up at knife point if they don't have any cash on them. They've got it all some way that's digital. So, I mean, yes, there are positives, but then if you get big brother government going a little too crazy, then it can become really bad for people as well. So I don't know, man. But what's weird is everybody can argue these points. We're all moving in that direction anyway. I mean, don't we kind of already have a digital dollar? I mean,
well, this is something that I don't think a lot of people actually realize is that most of the money that people deal with is digital anyway, and it's just numbers on a computer. All right, like a person that makes $100,000 a year, they do not physically handle $100,000 a year. Like there's no way. Money comes into their bank accounts and they see it, and it's the perception that yes, I have this money in my account. That does not mean that your bank has your $100,000 or whatever the case is in a vault waiting for you to collect it. They will keep some on, like, as a reserve for people that do want to withdraw physical cash. The rest is just in a ledger, and it's there to say this person is owed X, that person is owed Y, and so on. They don't have this. Absolutely, it's impossible for a bank. It would be nice. It would be nice to know that people, like, everybody can run to a bank and take their money out. Yeah, it's never going to happen. In the past, whenever we've seen bank runs happen, the bank lands up going bank because they just don't have enough cash to give out to people. But listen, I actually want to move on to it's an adjoining topic where privacy is concerned. There was an Ethereum mixer called Tornado Cash. And I do want to say that I think President Trump is very good for crypto because Tornado Cash was seen as like the enemy because it would allow people to mix the Ethereum and hide it. So once it's gone through Tornado Cash, there's no way to know where it initially came from. And there were sanctions imposed on Tornado Cash because it didn't fit the agenda. Like, we want to know where people's money came from and where it's going to, and so on. Now, the thing is that Tornado Cash was blamed for laundering, I believe like $600 million that of Ethereum that were taken in various hacks, which is why sanctions were imposed on them because they're going, well, you're a tool for facilitating money laundering. which is not really correct because it's a privacy tool. All right. A person that carries around a handgun does not mean that they intend to use that handgun to commit a felony. Okay. It could be for personal protection. We need to look at both sides here. All right. The way that a person uses a particular tool is it's on the person. What are you doing with it? And like I fully get the want and need for privacy in today's day and age. Like I certainly don't want people following my money around. So if I want to put it through a mixer so that my money can be private, my money is not ill-gotten. My money is legit, but I still don't want people to be able to trace it. So if a person wants to do that, you're going to blame the tool or you're going to blame the person?
Yeah, I think again, it's what are you going to do if somebody gets stabbed with a knife? You're going to ban all knives. I mean, it's that kind of situation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Like no, I carry
Well.
a knife to cut my steak, not to stab people. I mean, if you find me carrying a steak knife, doesn't mean I plan to walk around stabbing people. Might mean that I'm on the way to a barbecue.
Yep.
All right, but something else. SEC case against Ripple's been dropped. So basically, Ripple has been given a new lease of life, and we've seen it in the charts. Ripple's pumped a bit. Funny enough, not as much as it has in the past. I don't even think that Ripple has touched its previous ATH. Let me take a look at this.
Not yet.
So it's almost no, it actually did. It went to
3.320
in January, but its previous all-time high was actually just over $3 back in 2018. But it's looking healthy again. We've seen it now. It pumped to 293 probably 2 weeks or so ago. But speculating on price. It just means that there's, without the SEC leading pressure on Ripple, it opens up a whole new avenue of doors, especially for people who are incredibly bullish on Ripple. And people need to learn how to read certain things, because people are so in the mindset that the banks are going to be using Ripple and big institutions are going to be using Ripple. Well, people need to understand, like, we've already got agreements with banks. People need to understand that those agreements that are in place is not necessarily that the banks have to use the XRP token, but Ripple's software. Okay, so do your own research and read into this. Do your research, go and find out what this actually means. Because I don't want people out there going, well, I've heard that the banks are going to be using Ripple, and therefore I'm going to put my life savings into it. That is a horrible idea. It's bad. And it's like, I've got no dislike against Ripple. I have a dislike for the misinformation that people are exposed to, thinking that the banks have to use the token. They don't. The institutions have to use the token. They don't. The agreements are based around Ripple's software, not Ripple's token. Okay, so please do your own research on that. It is super, super important. But I know that a lot of people are keeping an eye on it because of its volatility, the way that it's been moving has made it a great point to be able to trade. Am I right?
And that's
you trade Ripple a lot?
I have traded it recently. Cliff, I don't know, you probably traded it too a bit with the volatility increasing. The one thing about Ripple or any type of coin or whatever, you either learn how to trade or you invest for the long haul, right? I mean, that's my only, that's my personal advice. That is not investment advice. But if you find something you love, you're willing to just keep buying it, even if it goes down 85, 90% from where you originally purchased it, because you believe in it and your time horizon is decades. But otherwise, if you're going to try and guess where Ripple's going to be next week or the week after, good luck. We, who knows? Could go up, could go down, could go sideways for a long time.
Yeah. All right. So a couple of other little news items that I thought would be nice to share. also, we know that there are a lot of countries looking at accumulating Bitcoin. We know that there's a lot of institutions looking at accumulating Bitcoin. It seems like everybody wants to accumulate this. It's like it's now been branded as digital gold. When someone like Jim Cramer says this is digital gold, yeah, like his word can't always be followed to the T. But it's nice to hear some of these big guys start talking about it favorably and accepting that and even labeling it and branding it as digital gold. It's nice to know that there are other companies that have been interested in Bitcoin and crypto for a while already. Now they're stepping up their game even more. And one of those companies, MicroStrategy, who's rebranded themselves to Strategy, are working on a plan to buy $21 billion worth of Bitcoin through selling through a stock sale. So Michael Saylor, he's either an incredible visionary or he's the most deluded person on the planet. It's a tough one because a lot of people are going, is this guy absolutely insane? Like, what is he doing? I think the guy's possibly a genius, and we have yet to understand his overall strategy. But I did mention this a while back where I said the next thing that makes sense is for them to become a bank. So keep your eyes on that company. I do think that he has a plan beyond the plan that he's hasn't fully revealed yet, but I do think that strategy is going to come out as being a Bitcoin bank. But with the idea to raise $21 billion in Bitcoin, that is massive.
Yeah.
When your company is buying more than what countries can do, it speaks volumes. And they all in. He's not interested in any other crypto. He's all in on Bitcoin. But it is incredibly bullish, not just from a price perspective, as in number go up, but also for the legitimacy of Bitcoin. It is here to stay. It is really, really here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
You keep playing this game for a long time.
Yeah. And for me, right now, it doesn't matter about the price. It doesn't. What matters is having it entrenched in everyday life. And I believe that is going to happen when people are using it without realizing it. And why I say that is because I do believe that there are going to be there's a lot more technology that's going to be coming down the line where people are going to be land up using crypto without realizing it. And I've asked people in the past before, do you use Linux as an operating system? And most people go, no, they don't know anything about it. And the reality is that most people use Linux without realizing it. All your modern microwave ovens use Linux. Your TVs use Linux. So we have this operating system that has a different technology built on top of it, but the underlying thing, which is Linux, controls a lot of the devices that we use on a day-to-day basis. So when you ask people, do you use Linux, and they say no, they don't realize that they actually do. So how does this tie in with Bitcoin and crypto? I believe that there's going to come a time where people are using the Bitcoin network and not realizing it. Now, when you take a look at a company like Strike, now Strike, run by a chap by the name of Jack Mallers, they have an app which allows you to send Bitcoin from one person to another. But that's not the only thing that they do. You can send dollars from one person to another. And the way that this works is their app allows you to send, I want to send $10 from me to Justin, and I put his address in and I send money over to him. I'm not actually sending dollars. What's happening on the back end is that money is getting converted to Bitcoin. It's using the Bitcoin Lightning Network that I spoke about a little bit earlier. That's incredibly fast. It gets switched over to Bitcoin, uses the Bitcoin network, gets transferred over to Justin, and then converts back into dollars on his end. He doesn't realize that all that he's seeing is he's receiving his $10. All that I'm seeing is I'm sending $10. I load my app with cash. I send it to Justin. He receives cash, fiat. He's receiving US dollar, but not realizing that the underlying technology behind that is actually Bitcoin. So it's food for thought. I believe it's going to happen. So, for now, I'm just interested in the fact that it's slowly becoming so entrenched that we're going to then end up using it on a daily basis without even realizing it.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
You want to get into some new coin listings, Paul?
Yes. So that's it from me in my news segment. Right now, we're going to hear what Justin has to say about the new coins hitting all the exchanges.
Yeah, and it's not super exciting today, but we'll get into this segment. They're all kind of little ones that I guess they're grasping for some new good coins. So, but let's get into this now. All right, we got a couple coins. Again, none of these really are coming out of the gate super strong. There's about 5 different ones that have been listed, a couple on Coinbase, a couple on Binance. I'm just going to bust through these pretty quick, Paul, because they're not things that we're interested in trading yet because the volume is just really low for all of these coins. They're not ones that a lot of people are watching. They can, creep and crawl for a long time, just kind of going sideways. Who knows? But the first one's called Aether. It's ATH is the symbol. It's revolutionizing DePIN with its advanced and distributed enterprise-grade GPU compute infrastructure tailored for AI and gaming. There we go. Now we got to it. It's an AI type deal. These are coming out fast and furious. Everything is AI. They're all trying to ride that narrative, so it's AI and gaming. Looks like they got 42 billion of these things. They're at about 3.5 cents right now. We'll see what happens. Not a lot of volume, and have to see what happens with that one. But again, how many of these coins have we heard recently that are all AI based or stuff like that recently? And again, when it comes to trading crypto, we look for volume. And the reason we look for volume is volume means attention, right? Where there's attention, there's going to be people trading it, buying it, selling it, going back and forth. So, we look for that as the key component. And all of these, I ran through them all. They all have very low volume for the exchanges they're on, relative to other popular coins and coins that we would trade. Every once in a while, we get a good coin that comes out like on Coinbase or Binance, and it just goes crazy up and down, and we're all trading it for days and days, and it's a lot of fun. These ones I'm not seeing as being as much fun. They kind of came out and just fizzled. All right, Maple is the next one. Syrup. Clever. Syrup is the coin name, or the name Syrup USD for it. It's DeFi's institutional lender. So here's a DeFi coin. They've generated consistent accelerated growth by combining the best of institutional lending and DeFi. They emerged stronger from the 2022 credit crunch, and it played a pivotal role in rebuilding the DeFi lending space. Yep, they came out. I don't know. Right now, not a lot of people paying attention to that. That was on Coinbase. Same thing with Aether. Not best coins recently. I don't know. They're kind of just funneling some through, and they've got a bunch of new meme coins coming out, I think, on Coinbase too. It's just, I don't know. They list some interesting things, but some of them take off. And but it is really tough to try to gauge what's going to be hot and not. It's better to just sit back, watch it, learn how to trade it, and not try to guess if this is the one you should put your money in because it's going to do 1,000x from wherever its listing price is. There have been coins that have been amazing projects that just, oh my gosh, just did nothing and just continued to just decline. There was one I remember a long time ago, ICP, Internet Computing Protocol, I think it was, and it listed at like 400 something bucks. I think it's trading at what, like $5 now or something like that,
if I'm not mistaken.
I
know.
Hold on, I'll tell you.
583. Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? So, and I remember going like, and it was so good to trade for us. We traded that all through the downtrend. It still comes up and we trade it, but it was just continual volume. There was tons of interest, but it just absolutely died infinitely, practically. And I remember people, I knew it was bad when I had people that I hadn't talked to in a long time messaging me about ICP. What do you think is going to happen with this coin? I'm like, oh man, this is bad. So you buyer beware. Again, new coin listings can be extremely risky to invest in, 100%. All right, and they can be risky to trade too. See all the disclaimers. Next one is Bubble Maps, super cute name, BMT. This is an interesting one just as far as their product. They have it's a widely used token for research and supply analysis. They contribute to on-chain investigations that have shaped discussions about insider activity and token concentration. So I do find that coin interesting, and their product, what they're doing, that they're tracking, you know what I'm saying, that insider trading or token concentrations around certain individuals. I think that's pretty awesome. But as far as trading it, I think it hasn't done very much. So there's not a lot of volume around it. And Paul, isn't that like sometimes the most the projects in crypto that make the most sense get the least attention? You remember BAT with the Brave browser, and the Brave browser was fully functioning, and like that should have been a coin that just went like crazy or something, right? It was a great product, totally worked, and yet here we are trading Pepe, right? Makes zero freaking sense.
No, I hear you. I still think that the idea behind BAT and Brave is solid.
Yes.
Because they were basically trying to change the way that advertising works, trying to get people's attention by getting people to opt into viewing ads. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Why the coin has not taken off like an absolute rocket makes no sense to me.
It makes no sense, right?
The coin has utility. If you want to buy advertising on the network, you've got to do it through the coin. It makes sense to me. Yet the coin is trading probably at its lowest in the last 8 years. What's it trading at now? Let's have a look.
Who even knows?
Trading at 15 cents.
Yep.
And its all-time high was
a lot more than that.
$1.60.
Yep. So there you go. All right, moving on. Go ahead.
$1.90.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Isn't that crazy? That just blows your mind, right?
Yep.
So, all right. Next one is called Formation Phi. Form is the ticker. And it's a risk parity protocol from Formation Phi. It's a cross-chain decentralized asset management system designed to bring maturity and stability to DeFi by allowing users to quickly create high diversity portfolios tailored to individual risk preferences. Okay, not a lot of people paying attention to it. Sounds interesting. DeFi is, it's funny. DeFi is obviously extremely risky in areas that you can get into. Just nuts, like, millionaire to zero in 24 hours. So buyer beware. Could be, a great product, could show up later on the radar as something fun to trade, but for right now, it's not looking super hot. All right, last one is Epic Cash. And this it launched to a decentralized worldwide community. The ticker is Epic, and it seeks to deliver on Satoshi's original vision of true P2P electronic cash. So this is it's got 21 million, Epic, max supply. It's a Bitcoin clone, essentially, is exactly what it is. I guess they're going to try and do some things kind of different. But it's not doing super awesome. It's at 38 cents right now. Again, could go up, could go down. Not one we're trading right now, but a new coin. So now you know about it. You know what's going on with that. They're trying to do kind of like a Bitcoin Cash, or what was the other one? BSV, Bitcoin Satoshi's vision type of deal. So something kind of like that. Wasn't that was one of them, wasn't it, Paul, back in the day?
BSV, yeah, but that's the one that Craig Wright.
Yeah, I know. Was not nobody. Yeah. Anyway, so but this is what's going on here. They've got the idea of delivering on the original vision and doing their thing to make that happen. All right, that's all we've got here. I'm excited to talk with our guest here today, and I want to get right into that because Cliff's been here, listening in, commenting, and we've got some good questions for him about his journey because he does have an incredible journey now in trading crypto. So let's get right into that with our guest of the week. All right, Cliff. Good morning to you. And I can see you got a nice backdrop there. Looks like a beautiful day there in Arizona, correct? You're out in Arizona?
Yep. Yeah, Queen Creek. I'm actually sitting outside today, so very nice day. It's beautiful out here today.
Yeah.
Justin, don't you love his shirt?
Yes, absolutely. Listen, all I've got, my life is so simple. I get up and put on my iCoinPRO t-shirt. I mean, it's like every day. I think another person who wears the same pretty much outfit all the time is Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
and also Mark Zuckerberg, right? Keeps life simple, man. Just get up, put it on. And we're in Florida, so it's shorts and flip-flops most of the time anyway. I'm sure it's pretty much the same for you out there in Arizona. Unless you're up high. The higher you get there, you got some mountains, it can get a bit cool. Well, cool. Cliff, if you can, first off, let us know how long you've been trading for, roughly when you got started, and what do you do currently? What did you do before, getting into crypto trading for work?
Yeah, so I've been trading now with iCoinPRO for 5 years. 5 years ago, I was kind of looking around. I've been in the remodeling business, kitchen and bath cabinetry, for most of my life. And, I started to think to myself, I can't do this forever. And so I started to look around for another, cash flow opportunity, another way to make money because the day would come when I would retire, right? So one day I got online and I think I Googled MLM and Bitcoin just to see what would come up, and iCoinPRO was one of the results there. So I checked out the website and I was impressed with what I saw. Basically what I saw there was that they would teach me how to trade cryptocurrency, and that I would be able to actually win most of my trades if I followed their system. And so I knew that really the only way to know if that would happen or not, it would be to try it myself. So I actually took the plunge and started a trading account, watched all the trainings. I think I watched all the video trainings for about a month before I even tried to do anything. Because I came from nothing in turn. I knew nothing about crypto. I had never seen a trading view chart. I had never seen a live exchange online. We a lot has been talked about today, and we throw around these cryptocurrency words, and I couldn't have defined any of them back in the day. So I didn't even know what a candle was on a chart. So I've literally learned everything that I know about trading through iCoinPRO, and I've also plugged in some other things since then, and been trading now for about 5 years. I want to share one of my favorite stories about my trading journey. When I first got started, I bumped into an old friend. I hadn't seen him for quite a while, and he said to me, "Well, so what's new?" And what was new with me was learning to trade crypto. And so I told him a little bit about it. I wasn't trying to pitch him. I was just telling him I was excited about it, and I had just started to trade. And, he basically patted me on the back and said, "Hey, well, good luck with that." I mean, he couldn't have been more condescending. Maybe had he patted me on the head, instead of on the back.
Yeah.
I ran into the same guy about a year later. And what do you think he asked me about? He said, well, how's that Bitcoin thing going for you?
I
And
was going to say, did he say Bitcoin thing? Because that's what people still say to me to
yeah,
this day.
that's
You're
exactly
still
what
doing
he
that
said.
Bitcoin
Yep.
thing. But before,
And,
yes, it used to be condescending.
Yeah. The answer he was looking for is he wanted me to tell him, it didn't work out, or oh, it was a scam or whatever. And I simply told him, well, it's going pretty well. I'm undefeated so far this year. And he said, well, what does that mean? And I said, it means I haven't lost a trade yet this year. And that doesn't mean I've never lost trades. And it doesn't mean I went the whole year. But this system is such a great system that if you follow it to a T and as closely as you can, you're going to win. It is unbelievable. Yeah. So he no longer patted me on the back and spoke to me that way. He was kind of impressed, but still he just went on his way. But I've been trading now for 5 years. It's created an opportunity for me now to I know what I'm going to do when I retire. I have had people ask me, well, if you've traded for 5 years and it's going well, why have you not retired yet? And the answer to that is pretty simple. Number one, I've never been busier in my remodeling business. I get calls every single day. And the other part of that is I have a couple of sons who are learning the business as well, and so they're not ready to go out on their own. So I'm going to stick in there or plug away with them for a bit more. So that's the answer to that. But it's been a great journey. I absolutely love this system. If you follow the system and trade the way the system teaches you, you'll have success.
It's funny, Cliff. We were talking the other day, and I was asking you about, what are your results? How would you summarize them? And then what was your best trading experience and worst trading experience? Because we do have losses in trading, right? It's a long game. It's not just, in particular, and I know, you understand this as well. When we have losses with our system, it's our fault. I mean, it just is. Okay, we're humans. We're not robots. We do something we shouldn't do in the trade. We get overconfident. We don't be patient enough just to wait for the squeeze bubble 1, 2, 3 money. If you want to know what that is, that's our trade. You can do the free boot camp. But tell me what you told me about, how you do a trading, because I want people to understand why they need to listen to you, because you are a phenomenal trader with your consistency in this system.
So I think the first thing that people need to understand is that you don't have to sit in front of your computer all day long and watch charts or do that. I'm out and about all the time. In fact, 95% of the trades that I execute are on my phone. And so I simply my daily activity would be, get up in the morning. I take a look at what's happening with Bitcoin and other coins. I look at the charts that are, the software that iCoinPRO has provided. I absolutely love the Buddy coin crawler, and I'll select 2 or 3 coins out of that software that I want to watch for the day. I enter it into my phone. I still do some old school stuff. I enter it into Tab Trader, and I just keep an eye on it. And when I get an alert that something is happening with one of those coins I'm following, I'll go in and look at it. And if it's a tradable coin, then I'll go ahead and make the trade. But I think one of the questions you asked me, Justin, is about one of the best days that I ever had. And this has happened a number of times. It occurs, and I can't tell you the exact day that this happened, but it has happened a number of times over 5 years. It's when Bitcoin dumps big time, right?
Yeah.
And all of the altcoins follow. In fact, the altcoins dump even bigger. And those are the best days. I remember Lily Cannon, I saw her say something once about those are my favorite days to trade. And I figured that out right away. It sure is. And it was one of those days when Bitcoin dumped big time, and there were so many coins that you could trade. It was not a question of, are you going to trade that day? The question is, what are you going to trade? Because there's so many options, so many coins that you could trade. And yeah, I think I know I entered a number of different trades that day on different coins, and I think my profit for the day was right around 3,500. So it was a good day that day. So
yeah, and what's funny about that is a lot of people, when things dump, they wonder how we make money on those days, because sometimes it's brutal. Like if you're a holder and Bitcoin dumps 30%, 40%, I've even seen 50% back in March 12th of 2020. We've seen some really, really brutal movement by Bitcoin. But again, the way that our system is laid out, it just helps protect you, even if the market's going down. And there are ways to profit when it's dipping, when it's going down, and when it reverts. That's what we do. The one thing I thought that was really, really awesome, and I wanted you to share this, was what do you average monthly on your trading balance? Now, keeping in mind you are working a job, you're running your business, and you're trading on your phone, but what are you averaging consistently on your balance?
I average consistently about 10% on my trading balance. And
Amazing.
some months are better, some are less. Right now, I haven't traded a lot in the last week or so, just because
Something goes.
kind of falling sideways. But it just depends. Each month is different, but it's typically anywhere from 7 to 10 grand per month. Some months are better than that. So it's been great. I would recommend this to anybody. Now, obviously, when I first started trading, that wasn't the case. I started with kind of a smallish balance, and then I plugged into that compounding returns calculator and figured out that if I just kept any gains that I made in my trading, if I just kept it in my account balance and allowed that to grow over time, it could really become a significant balance and a significant opportunity each month. And that's what has happened. It's you plug into that and start with a low balance. And one of the great things about starting with the lower balance, in my opinion, is that your risk is very, very low, but you learn how to trade over time, so that over time, once you start to increase your balance, you've now increased your knowledge and your confidence in the system, and you know what you're doing, and it's not a risk anymore, in my opinion.
It's funny, and I love what you said there, because a lot of people, they want to swing for the fences, right? They want to become overnight millionaires. They want to put on that one super risky trade that just, you know what I'm saying, goes their way. And that is the quickest way to lose money, is to become the overnight millionaire trading. You will just flush your money down the toilet. Smarter traders are just going to take it from you, unfortunately. And that's my opinion completely there. So, you're consistent, you follow the system, but you walk the walk, you took the journey. You started with a small amount and then learned, to compound that by using the system. And I want people to understand that, you don't have to come into this with a five-figure trading balance. Honestly, it's way better if you don't. Come in with a couple $100, a four-figure balance, right? Cut your teeth with that. Follow the system, learn, build this skill around whatever you're doing for work. Just do it. It's so worth it, okay? And as you grow that balance, you're going to get knowledge. You're going to refine what you're doing. You're going to become better. You're going to interact with the community. You're going to interact with me. I'm in there all the time helping new traders. And you interact with Clifford as well. And it's something that you gain the knowledge and the comfort level to trade a five-figure or even six-figure balance in these markets. And it's like just numbers on a screen. You know what I'm saying? Once you get comfortable, if I put in a four-figure position size, I don't even think about it. It's another trade. I know how it's going to play out. I've done these trades a million times. And if it does go south, I take the loss and move on and get right back to the next trade, because that's just how crypto trading is. And I know you've had losses, obviously, along the way, Cliff. I know Luna, we both got really, spanked on that pretty bad. So, But again, that was an unprecedented, crazy thing. And for me, it was a personal error. It was a situation where I made a mistake on the trade, and that compounded over time with the coin going from $52 billion, I think it was, to zero essentially in like 48 hours.
Yeah, it was like a couple of days.
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, I remember it
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know if you
Tom, I'm going to jump in here.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to jump in here. You, before iCoinPRO, you had not traded anything.
Correct. I did have a Coinbase account. I bought some crypto in Coinbase just because I had been hearing things about it, but I had no idea what to do with that. My trading strategy back then was to log into my Coinbase account every once in a while and see if my balance had gone up or down. But I had no clue how to. I saw the sell button. I knew I could sell the crypto I had, but I had no knowledge whatsoever about any of this. And so
Right.
just started out as a complete newbie. And I kind of feel like I'm clearly not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm also not the dumbest. And it's just a matter of plugging into this, and you'll learn. If somebody wants to know how to learn about this, number one, get into this. Get a Coinbase account or a crypto, excuse me, an iCoinPRO account, and watch all the trainings. You'll learn a ton of stuff just in those video trainings. And then plug into Justin's daily MMA. He does it on Facebook and other platforms.
Market analysis. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll learn a great deal just by plugging into it. If you're a person that watches TV, stop doing that, and do something to educate yourself, especially in my opinion, in this area.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something that you said in the beginning, where the person that you spoke to wanted to know about that Bitcoin thing, and then wanting to know, like, why aren't you retired yet? And people have this perception, and I really think that people need to wake up. That if it's so good, you buy a little bit this week, and by next week you are retired, and it doesn't work like that. But it's all about working towards that kind of point by compounding, which is, if I'm assuming correctly, that is something that you started doing. You started with a certain amount and you built it up over time, and it's scaling now at the moment. Does that sound like right? So, and if you you have been busy with your day job, but still trying to make time to continue trading, if you had to continue on the same path for the next 5 years, do you then see that it's like, do you project that it's going to be like a completely different landscape, like for you personally?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the day will come when I'll just be a full-time day trader and using this system. So I don't know how soon that'll happen. I'm back when I started, I thought it would be in a couple of years, and the truth is I could probably do it right now, but like I say, it's not that easy to just simply walk away from a business that you've spent your life building.
Yeah.
Speaking
And you pointed out you want your boys to be ready.
Still training them, still teaching them, and the truth is I have a lot of other people that are kind of depend on me in that business as well. So I'm still doing that, but the upside to that is, and I mentioned I most of my trades are on my phone. The upside to being in the business that I'm in is I can access my phone any time of the day. Sometimes my clients will look sideways at me and think, well, what's that guy doing on his phone so much today? And it's because I'm trading. Yeah, I don't tell them that's what I'm doing, but if you're in a position where you can access your phone while you're working, that's a great opportunity. Mike Cannon and I watched this years ago. Mike Cannon put a little video training on there about how to trade if you're working a full-time job, and that was one of the really impactful trainings for me, because I used what he taught us in that training, and been using some of those things ever since.
Right.
Awesome.
So Mike Cannon's a legend, and The funny thing, Cliff, is that you're quiet, you get on with it, and yet you have people like Mike and Lily who are forward facing, and they'll come on more videos than you and so on. But I fully believe that you are one of the legends of iCoinPRO. I mean, over the last 5 years, even though you have not appeared on many of our videos, you've still cemented yourself as someone that's taken the system and had the ability. I know you said that you're not the smartest person. I'm going to disagree with you, because at least you're smart enough to know that what you need to do is just follow that system, which is exactly what you did, right?
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
So,
to deviate,
you got to
and
give
I have
yourself
done
credit.
that before. Yeah, yeah, probably the biggest. I'll share what I think is the biggest mistake that I've made over the years, and it's like the first rule in the training videos, and that is don't be greedy. And it is
Yeah.
so hard sometimes to not break that rule, because you start to see things as you learn to trade, and you think, well, I've learned quite a bit. I think this is going to happen or that's going to happen, and sure enough, it kind of it tends to bite you. And so
I think one of the biggest mistakes that I did when I first started trading crypto in any sense was revenge trades,
yeah,
where I knew that I lost on something and I kept chasing the loss. But Justin, I know you've done it too, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think everybody does it as part of their journey, but you just can't. You can't do it. You just got to follow the system. Sometimes you just got to put that sell order in, lick your wounds, and then get back to the drawing board and study.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that song by Kenny Rogers, The Gambler.
Yeah.
You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And I think
Yeah.
that is a mistake that a lot of people that they don't wrap their heads around. Is you got to know when to walk away from a trade, cut your losses, and like you said, lick your wounds, and just get back on the horse and look for a completely different trade. But make sure that what you're looking for is there. Something that, like, people will look at the chart and go, I think I see 3 dips, but there's not even a single dip, and then they're ready to take that trade.
Honestly,
No, trades will come. They will come.
One of the best things about the trading software is you can pretty much ignore it, and then just when that phone goes off, you're getting in the ballpark of the trade. So.
Yeah.
Paul, we are just a little past the hour here on our podcast. I want to thank Cliff for coming on here and sharing. I think it's important for people to hear these stories because, again, you're a successful trader now, but like every, overnight success, quote unquote, it was years in the making, and you learned the system, you studied, and here you are now, and it's like, for people that are just finding out about crypto, about crypto trading, about iCoinPRO, man, save yourself a lot of heartache, a lot of headache, and just learn the simple system and just follow it. You mentioned that, I think you're brilliant because of the fact, Cliff, that you follow the system. And I'll tell you, anytime I've gotten in trouble is when I think I'm smarter than the system. The system is smarter than me. It always has been. It always will be. You just have to follow exactly what's in the training. And if you want to learn about it, you can do our free boot camp. It takes you 40 minutes. You can literally do it today. You can have a new skill, a new arrow in your quiver to get you started on a journey to developing an additional income stream. You can get back with whoever shared this video with you. Or introduce you to iCoinPRO, or you can shoot an email to support@iCoinPRO.com, and they'll be more than happy to take great care of you. Cliff, thank you so much for sharing your journey. Paul, thank you again for everything that you do. Again,
Thank you, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm going to go ahead and just put up a disclaimer here because we do want to make sure people understand there is risk here in trading. But before I do that, Cliff, any parting words you have for people that might be watching this that are thinking about getting started and learning how to trade crypto?
I would just say, just give it a shot. You miss. I've heard you say this, Justin. You miss 100% shots, right? Wayne Gretzky. So give it a shot. There's really not a lot of risk if you start out small. and you'll learn a great deal, and you'll understand very, very quickly that it's a viable opportunity for you. And once you learn how to do it, it's just a matter of scaling.
Yep, absolutely. Rinse and repeat. Just do the same thing over and over again. Don't be smarter than the system. Awesome. Thank you so much, Cliff, for being out here. And again, thank you everybody who was listening today. Again, if you want to get more of the Crypto Edge podcast, go ahead and follow me on Facebook or x.com, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll also get notifications of Bitcoin giveaways that we do, as well as morning market analysis that Cliff mentioned here as well. So again, thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, everybody who tuned in here. And we'll make sure we're going through and answering any questions here in the comments that you guys have. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Bye-bye now.